Guardio's back online, so I'm just going to cut straight to the chase. I'm going to be talking about that Sarah Pumpkin lady. You know, that new MP for Reform? She's barely been in Parliament for less than a month. About 3 weeks now, since the 1st of May. And I just stumbled across a video on X, released by Basil the Great, and she's absolutely embarrassed herself on national TV. She was interviewed by that Victoria Derbyshire lady. She was asked, how do you stop the boats? How would Reform tackle the illegal immigration problem and stop those rubber dinghies from coming in swarms into British territory? And do you know what? She froze up. She couldn't answer the question. Do you know why? Because Reform simply do not have any plans. They have no policies whatsoever. I'm going to show you this video. It's about 1 minute. Bearing in mind, by the way, that Reform kicked out Rupert Lowe. They sacked him. They butchered his reputation and tried to make some spurious claims, spurious charges, false allegations against him, and replaced him with this Sarah Pumpkin lady. Have a watch this video.
Nigel Farage says he would stop the small boats. How would Reform stop the small boats?
Reform clearly is one of Reform's key
How would you do it? How would you stop people getting into the boats?
So we will, any illegal immigrants that come to this country will be detained and deported back to where they come from.
I'm not asking about before that. How would you stop them getting into the boats in the first place?
We have a border force that could currently turn those boats around. We have a deal with France. It's not working. We're paying money to France for what? The boats are still coming through. So
the border force
it's about a will.
Would what? Do what?
It's about a will of the government in power. The Conservatives didn't have the will to turn the boats around. The Labour Party does not have the will to turn the boats around. We've seen immigration grow even faster in the last 10 months under this Labour government.
But basically what you're saying to me is you wouldn't be able to stop people getting in the boats.
Reform are the only party that will try and turn those boats around by instructing Border Force to do precisely that, which is currently...
And taking them back to France?
Yes.
There's no bilateral agreement with France for this. There's nothing in it for them.
What Reform want to do...
Plus there's international maritime law.
What Reform want to do is anybody that comes here illegally is deported back to where they come from.
I know that. I was asking about how you'd stop them getting into boats in the first place.
So there you go, guys. This is Reform UK. That is the newest MP for Reform. This is what I'm talking about, guys. This is why I can't go on supporting Reform, and I will not vote for Reform in the next general election. This is what Basil the Great had to say. This is Reform's newest MP, Sarah Pumpkin. She made an absolute arse of herself on Newsnight. What was the really tough question she was asked that she couldn't answer? How will you stop the boats? This should be Reform's bread and butter. They should know this stuff inside out. Instead, they've just parachuted in posh career politician former Tories who are appearing at refugees welcome events 5 minutes ago who haven't got a clue what they're doing. That is Sarah Pumpkin. If you want to win the next election, you will have to do far better than this. And this is what I'm talking about. They've kicked out Rupert Lowe, butchered his reputation, trying to undermine his credibility. A very competent, capable individual who's done more to address the problem of illegal immigration. He's called for mass deportations repeatedly in Parliament. They kicked him out and got this Sarah Pumpkin lady. She's attended refugees welcome events in the past. She's attended transgender events in the past. She's got a whole list of problems related to her history. She's got a poor track record. She's a former Tory. And this is what Nigel Farage has decided to do. That is your future MP for Reform. Nigel Farage, that is your future Prime Minister. Let that sink in. I want you to acknowledge that. Sarah Pumpkin, this lady, she has no clue. I think her brain cells just checked out as soon as she was asked, how will you stop the boats? Now, even if Reform didn't have a plan, and she knew Reform didn't have a plan, she didn't have no policies, no plan whatsoever on how to tackle this. What she should have said is, right, as of now, currently, Reform have absolutely no plan on how to tackle the illegal immigration. But I can tell you this, I can reassure the general public that me and my colleagues at Reform, we are working 20 hours a day drafting a concrete plan, a detailed step-by-step process, a sequence on how to exactly tackle the illegal immigration problem, how we're going to stop those rubber dinghies from coming. It's very simple. It's not hard to calculate. They're coming in through the English Channel. Right, what do? Get the Royal Navy involved. That's what the Royal Navy are there for, isn't it? They're supposed to patrol the waters, patrol the English Channel, and defend British territory. If any rubber dinghy comes in, the Royal Navy will be kicking them out. We'll be sending them back to where they came from. You are in British territory. You've just stepped into the English Channel. You stepped through English waters. You are not welcome in our territory. You have come in here by illegal means. And that is what Reform will do. I guarantee you, Reform will have a plan by the next general election. We don't have any statutory powers at the moment to be able to tackle this. But once we get into power in the next general election, after the next general election, we will deal with this head on, because we do acknowledge that this is a major issue that the British people are genuinely concerned with. This is our top priority. I completely understand and empathise with people who are concerned with illegal immigration. We've got people butchering each other on the streets with kitchen knives. We've got terrorist attacks. We've got acid attacks. We've got child sexual exploitation that's still been going on for many years. We've got grooming gangs. We've got all sorts of problems. We've got asylum hotels. We don't want anyone seeking asylum. No asylum to any of these illegal immigrants whatsoever. None of these hotels. They've got to be scrapped. We've got to deal with the social cohesion problem that these illegal immigrants bring in. We've got to deal with this. I will reassure the general public that this will be dealt with. Reform will have a plan. We don't have a plan, but we will develop and implement a concrete plan. That is what Sarah should have said. But she didn't say that at all. She absolutely embarrassed herself. As I said, she's checked out. She's completely just dim. She has no idea. She's just exposed Reform for what they are. They're an absolute joke. They will not solve the migrant crisis because they don't have any plan. They've just ushered in former Tories, former Labour, former Lib Dems just to garner up their finances. It's all about money, isn't it? This is what Reform is. Let me know what you think down in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video. God bless, guys. It's absolutely ridiculous. Guardian Mo's clocking out.